When's the last time you put something on for your kids and actually left the room without worrying? If you're having trouble remembering, then this episode is for you. Today, I'm giving you a completely clean animated TV series your girls will love, and you will never once have to look over your shoulder while it's on. Welcome to Wholesome TV Picks, the only podcast that gives you family-friendly TV recommendations you can trust completely. No hidden surprises, no wasted time. Let's get started. My husband and I often reminisce on multiple occasions how Saturday mornings used to feel like. You know, as kids, we'd get up, get our cereal, sit on the floor in front of the TV, and watch our favorite cartoons. Times were simpler back then. And that's what your children are missing right now. Because there's just so much content out there, you can't possibly know which ones are safe and which ones aren't. Lady Lovely Locks is a short animated TV series from the 1980s about a girl named Lady, and she rules her kingdom through the magic in her hair. She has what's called a looking room, and the only way into the looking room is through her hair. That's why Ravenwaves is always scheming to get a lock of it. Lady Lovely Locks is primarily geared toward young girls, around 5 and up. But there are even a couple of men who admitted they love this show as kids and say this show is guy approved. So don't count it out if you have boys at home. My son, who's 14, watched this when he was little because the villains were genuinely funny. Your girls will have strong female role models to learn from throughout every episode. This show revolves around friendship, especially in one episode where Maiden Curly Crown gets pricked by some kind of weird bug that puts her in a deep sleep. And all of the friends travel a great distance to find the flowers that will make her better. The Pixie Tales are Lady's little magical friends that live in her hair and come out whenever she needs help. They are the cutest little things, and they were so popular that the toys became a really big deal when the show was on the air. The villains in this show are not scary at all. They're hard not to love. You have Duchess Ravenwaves, Lady's arch nemesis. Her little minions are Hairball and the Comb Gnomes, Snags and Tanglet, and if you notice the theme, all the characters in this show have hair name puns. Lady Lovely Locks is one of those shows you can plop your kids in front of the TV and go make dinner or fold that load of laundry that's been sitting in the laundry room for days. Whatever you need. Just 15 minutes of you time. I know some of us feel guilty when we use the TV as a babysitter. I was very guilty about it when my kids were younger. But hey, sometimes you just need a helper. And this helper doesn't poison the well. Having this show in your back pocket is really like having an old friend. And if you're a parent who is really mindful of limiting your children's screen time, this is a good way to spend that time. Best of all, it uses great stories to share these lessons in an easy, digestible format that kids can absorb. Here are some of the values that the show will actually teach your children. First is kindness. Lady is kind to people, even those who've been unkind and don't deserve it. It's just who she is consistently, episode after episode. Second is forgiveness, real forgiveness. The show models giving people the benefit of the doubt even when they have a bad track record. There's one episode where one of the bad characters, named Hairball, gets kicked out of his home and has nowhere to go. He runs into Maiden Curly Crown, who feels bad for him, and she invites him back to Lady's castle. Nobody trusts him, and it causes a whole conversation about why it's a bad idea. But Lady Lovely Locks makes the case that giving somebody the benefit of the doubt, regardless of their past, is important. Because unless you give someone a second chance, you'll never know if they've actually changed. The third one is one I want to spend just a little more time on because the show makes it clear in every single episode that scheming never wins. There's one moment in one particular episode that has stayed in my mind all these years later. Duchess Ravenwaves is always scheming to get control of Lady's kingdom. She does everything she can with her little minions to try to gain control, and it just never works out for her. There's one episode where Duchess Ravenwaves gets herself into a little bit of hot water. She and Lady end up falling into a river together, and Lady Lovelylocks comes to her rescue. Now, as a kid, I always wondered, why would Lady ever help Duchess Ravenwaves? But she does. Afterwards, Lady's exhausted, completely vulnerable, and Duchess Ravenwaves is standing right over her. Her hair is easy for the clipping, but Duchess Ravenwaves is thinking she could just take her hair and be done with it. You can see she's struggling with the decision. She's frustrated and walks away. Then Hairball teases her and says, "You couldn't do it. I saw you. You couldn't do it." She says, "She saved my life. I owed her a favor." Of course, she never learns her lesson. She says, "Don't worry, there's always a next time." I always thought that was very classy of Duchess Ravenwaves to actually have a moment of humanity and walk away. I still own my Silky Mane horse that I used to play with as a kid, and 3 pixie tail clips that I used to put in my hair. I let my daughter play with my toys, but the best memory was watching her when she was little, sitting on the floor in her room, playing with Silky Mane and my Little Ponies, and watching it bring her the same joy. Those are just memories that bring a smile to my face. And it's really what I'm hoping to help you create in your home too. Family time around a good show is time together your kids will remember. Now, if you want a full categorized list of vetted shows, organized by shows for younger kids, animal movies, hero stories, and picks for moms and dads, you can join my newsletter and get instant access the moment you sign up. You can visit my website at wholesometvpicks.com. The theme song for Lady Lovelylocks was created by I'm Saban and Shuki Levi, the same people behind He-Man and She-Ra, and later the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. The theme song is awesome. It's like a little story under a minute, and I'm sure they'll be humming it by episode 2. You can watch Lady Lovelylocks for free on YouTube. Each one's about 12 minutes long, and it's a really easy binge. If your girls or all of your kids love Lady Lovelylocks, your next stop would be episode 12 about the Berenstain Bears. Same values, great stories, and just as easy to binge. Wholesome TV Picks is one of the nominees for this year's Women's Podcasters Award. When voting opens next month, I would truly love your support. Next week, I'll be bringing you a classic Disney film about 3 friends who travel hundreds of miles through the Canadian wilderness to find their way home. No superpowers involved. Thanks for listening. Remember, your values matter and your TV should too. I'll catch you next week.